Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music.
What's good, gang? It's your boy RB3 here for First Cut, and I'm back reviewing another Best Picture nominee. That's right. So on First Cut, what we're gonna start doing leading up to the Oscars, that we're gonna review all 10 movies nominated for Best Picture, and then try to get to some of the other categories as well, like The Well and all these other important movies. But for right now, we're focusing on the Best Picture nominees, and so far we've done 4 reviews on the channel for the Best Picture nominees so far: Avatar: Way of the Water, Top Gun: Maverick, Everything Everywhere, and The Fabelmans. So now we're getting ready to chalk up reviews for Triangle of Sadness, Tar, The Banshees of blah 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 blah, All Quiet on the Western Front, Elvis, Women Talking. I'm excited to talk to you all about all these films because I've seen all of these already, and I've been holding my thoughts back for the past couple of months on a lot of these films, particularly something like Elvis and Banshees and Tar I actually just saw. So this one is a new, fresh review coming mostly fresh out the theater, but all the other ones I kind of been sitting on, and I'm gonna give you a little bit preview of what a lot of these reviews are going to kind of lead up to. A lot of these Best Picture nominees just weren't my cup of tea. This year just didn't have the year of movies that personally resonated with me. And I spoke on that before in the past with Top Gun: Maverick. I'm going to speak on that heavily with Banshees and with Triangle of Sadness. Great movies, great, technically well done, excellent, directed, and performances. Just things about subject matters and about things that I just don't really care about, or I think they led to an unsatisfying ending, particularly with Triangle of Sadness. Elvis is I got this big personal bias against dude. He's a trash individual person, who stole a lot of music from black artists. So why do I really care about his movie? Banshees, but we're going to get to all that when we get to that. But right now we're going to talk about Tar. That's the new film from Todd Field, starring Cate Blanchett as Lydia Tar, a conductor who runs in these elite circles and holds an immense amount of power because of her position and because of her talent. But the story follows the unraveling of her power and the unraveling of her potential when she starts to get quote unquote canceled. So yes, Lydia Tar does get canceled in this movie for reasons that I personally think are all justifiable. For the movie only thinks, some parts of it are justifiable. They're probably gonna look at me and saying, Rob, aren't you the cancel culture guy? Didn't you cancel somebody like a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago or 4 years ago or whatever? Aren't you always on Twitter? Aren't you a social justice warrior? Aren't you a Gen Z? But yes, all of those things are true. And yes, maybe that is coloring my perception of this movie a little bit. But as a Gen Z, millennial, whatever I categorize as talking about this movie, I gotta give you my perspective on it. And my perspective is the way it handles this is whack. Lydia Tar, as portrayed by Cate Blanchett in this movie, literally grooms young women and pushes them for sexual favors in exchange for favorable positions of power or academic reasons. And when these young women are no longer good to her, she throws them out, dumps them in the trash, and leaves them to rot. And in some cases, that led to some definitely consequences that she's dealing with right now. It's a pretty straightforward cancellation, right? But why is it dated? Why is this depiction so dated? Or why does this feel so wrong or so weird or out of place? Well, for one, let's just talk about cancel culture in general. This doesn't exist. I'm just going to say that right now. There's no such real thing as cancel culture. Nobody really gets canceled. Everybody, there might be some accountability. You might have 1 or 2 months, maybe 4 months, maybe 5 of being silent, being quiet, and then everybody just forgets. And now I know where you're back to where you just were just 2 minutes ago. Maybe it's a couple of years, maybe. But then we just see, fam, how many times have we seen it? And just Hollywood alone. Louis C.K., he's back. He just got nominated for an Emmy not too long ago, or Emmy and a Grammy. What about all those years of Weinstein? See, that's what makes me so mad about this movie. Why is this movie getting so much praise, but something like She Said, the movie that's unearthing sexual on grievances and talking about the Me Too movement and giving a positive light towards that. Why isn't that getting the same shine as something like Tar? This movie clearly comes from the perspective of one elite who watched another elite get canceled and decided to write or make a movie about it. And, you know, I think the reason why half if not all of Hollywood are into it is because there's some sort of secret fear that they're going to get canceled too. Now, the reason why Tar is a little bit more accessible to this like grown-up crowd is because most of the times when we see like these real life monsters and predators in real life, they're usually men. So seeing it portrayed as a woman is the differing aspect here and does make it a little bit different. And what's frustrating about this whole grooming aspect of the movie is that they never show the victims. They never show the main primary victim that's like accusing her along with all the other victims that are like there. We see her making moves towards her current assistant, and we see her making moves towards another young mentee who she is trying to pursue, but we see her making those moves, but we never really see her go full action. So it paints her as a sympathetic character. I hate the fact that we are in 2023 and still painting people who are counseled as victims. They're not victims. They did something wrong and they're being held accountable for it. But see, Linda doesn't believe in accountability. In fact, there's multiple times throughout the movie where she is defending like Nazi conductors or, you know, musicians like Mozart, who was like, you know, terribly misogynistic, which is funny because that's what her student brings up to her in the beginning of the movie, and she completely academically undresses this young person. Like she completely devalues, demoralizes their entire being because they had a minor disagreement. Now later on, that monologue of her going in on that student actually comes back because somebody else from that class was recording and posted an edited version of the clip on Twitter. Now, and this is, again, why this movie is so dated and old and has no idea what it's talking about with this cancel culture stuff, because they show the clip as if it's like super edited and if it's like a fugazi and it's a hit job, but there's no actual understanding of internet culture. Like anybody who sees an edited clip of somebody teaching, like that's clearly a meme, would know that it's a meme. The more effective actual means of counseling somebody in today's generation would have just been to post her full unedited clip. See, it's like this is the whole problem with like people over 50 directing movies and making movies about the internet and having no idea what the internet's about. It's the same thing with Don't Look Up. Like I love Don't Look Up, but when they cut to the part where they're showing memes of like Jennifer Lawrence's head exploding, it's so cringeworthy. Like you can even see in Tar, like there's a point where one of the students or somebody has a phone, but they're like somehow live streaming with video, but also texting at the same time, like the text messages on top of the video. Like it literally makes no sense. And it makes no sense because I think the director and these old people in making the movie don't really know what technology is, what cancel culture is, what the young people are actually saying about it. Like this literally just feels like the old people movie scouring down on young people. This movie doesn't think what she said to this student originally was bad. Like that's my problem with this movie. It doesn't think what she said originally to this kid was bad. It has to drum up this like overly edited thing to make it seem like, you know, the internet makes it bad. But no, I think it was bad. And I think the rest of the internet would have also thought what she was doing was bad because she was hurting this kid for having an opinion. Now, this would be a much different review if I came out here and was like, yo, this movie definitely depicted her as like evil, as ruthless, as a monster, but they don't. They actively make the most evil, ruthless things of her. They downplay that the most and give you her most like likable aspects. And that's, I guess, the complexity of cinema, but that's not the complexity of a movie that I want to see because I see right through it. Cate Blanchett was incredible in it. I mean, she was phenomenal. We've seen her play like these broken, problematic women. We've seen Blue Jasmine. We've seen all these movies before. So, you know, she's always going to hit the high mark. And Todd Field did an excellent job directing, especially in that first half. There's a lot of utilization of long takes that were extremely creative and had a lot of differing shots, like from one take to another. So I thought that was interesting. I think the character study aspect of this movie is like somewhat interesting too. I think if it was just a pure character study without all this cancel culture nonsense going on in between, I would have liked it a bit more. And the music itself was dope, especially seeing it in theaters. But again, it's the same compliment I gave to Top Gun. And it's going to be the same compliment I give to a lot of these Best Picture nominees. Well made, beautifully acted, beautifully shot, just not my story. Just not made for me, not made for my generation, or not, and maybe my generation is not even the right thing to say. Just not made for me. This is not my cup of tea. That's my thoughts on Tar. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Or what other Best Picture nominees are you looking forward to? Are you a fan of Todd Field's work? Have y'all seen Little Children with Cate Blanchett? That's a phenomenal movie from Todd Field. This is also pretty good too. Do you think he deserved that Best Director nomination? Do you think Cate Blanchett deserves to win Best Actress at the Academy Awards this year? Let me know in the comments down below. With that, it's your boy RB3. We'll be back with more reviews of the Best Picture nominees coming up soon. Might also do some more TV reviews. I mean, I'm loving Poker Face on Peacock, not the Lady Gaga song. Pop, 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 poker face, pop, pop, poker face. No, Poker Face on Peacock. I might do a review for that too. Why not? All right, I'll see y'all later. Peace.